I may be a few weeks late, but I am going to go ahead and talk about all of the manga that I read last month because I read some really good manga and I'm like, I have to talk about it before this month ends. Hello friends, happy Friday, so very excited that you're here. I am doing my August reading wrap-up video. I do apologize that it is quite late, but again, I read so many good things last month. It was like, I would read one thing and I'm like, okay, this is the favorite read of this month. And then I'd read the next thing, I'm like, okay, now this is the favorite. And it just kept going. And I was like, wow, like so many good things to talk about today. And I'm really, really excited. I roughly read about 22 volumes, give or take. There were some things I think I just didn't count because it was on like 1 or 2 chapters, like digitally, and we'll go ahead and start with those first. And the first digital thing I read that I really don't want to talk about is I did read volumes 1 through 3 of How I Met My Soulmate. Now, I want to say right now, I read it on K-Manga, I shared about it in one of my manga news video, and you guys influenced me to give this manga a second chance because I mentioned that I wanted to give it a second chance since I tried it physically. I believe it was in December of last year, and I just did not connect with it. Unfortunately, that was true again for this first volume. I didn't love it again. I felt really, really bad. It wasn't bad or anything like that. I don't know, I just could not connect with it. But I say that because even though I didn't connect with volume 1, I'm like, I'm gonna keep going. I went to the end of volume 3, I used all my tickets on K-Manga, and I used half of my points on K-Manga. So please know that I really did give this series an honest chance, and I am not head over heels for it, unfortunately. I got to the end of volume 3, and I thought volume 3 was the strongest and best of the 3 volumes that I did read. As the series went on, I do agree with a few people who have told me that the series does get better, and I strongly felt that way because I would have stopped at volume 1, but I really didn't want people to feel like, well, you didn't really give it a chance, because I see a lot of people say like typically 3 volumes of manga is giving it a good chance, and so that's what I did. I think part of the problem for me is I like the main female lead a lot, and I loved her in the very beginning, but there were choices that she made. I struggle with adult characters, and I know that she's like not super adult in the sense like she's still in college. I mean, yes, she's an adult, but like she's not like, you know, mid-20s and older. But I just didn't like some of the decisions that she made, and even though I really related to wanting to find like your soulmate and willing to go, you know, places to find them, I guess I was just frustrated that she's saying all of these things, and then when a certain character pops up who seems like another potential love interest, she's finding things out about him that suddenly she was second guessing. Especially I think it was like in volume 3 when like one of the best friends is like telling her things and she makes assumptions about the guy, the main male lead, and I did not like that, and I was really bothered. That wasn't like the deal breaker or anything. I really ultimately came down to I did not appreciate this love triangle vibe. I think if it didn't have one, I would have been much more excited to read it, and that was why I really enjoyed volume 3, because I felt it was focused on the romance between the leads and we didn't have all this other melodramatic things that were happening. That is ultimately why I didn't love it. I don't think it's a bad story or anything. I do prefer, unpopular opinion, but I do prefer Waiting for Spring. I was much more engaged with Waiting for Spring, even though I haven't finished that one. But I really do apologize for anybody that I let down by not loving this series. I was so bummed. I mean, there was a point that I felt really depressed about it because I'm like, I want to love this series with everybody else, but I am honestly glad that I gave it a second chance and that I kept reading so that I could understand the hype for this series, because by the end of volume 3, I got the hype. I didn't get the hype in volume 1 just from me personally, but by the end of volume 3, I was like, okay, I get it. I see why people really love these characters. Maybe one day we'll come back to the series, but I would skip volume 1 for me personally because that's just how much I just was not a huge fan of volume 1. Volume 2 was a lot better, and then volume 3 was the best that I read. That's not a strong way to start this video, and I'm so bummed about that, but I was like, look, I almost at the time after I read volumes 1 through 3, I seriously debated not even filming this video because I just didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings or let anybody down. And I'm like, well, people have encouraged me to, you know, you could still share your feelings. So here we are. But there were some other things that I did enjoy. The next thing that I read was chapters 1 through 24, A Love for a Walk. I read this on Webtoons and it was amazing. Oh my gosh, it was so good. I'm like, please let this get printed because it was so comforting to read. I love the characters. I love Bob, Bobby Bob. He's so cute. I have been actually keeping up with this series since I've read it and it's just been so enjoyable. Every Thursday night, though typically I read it on Friday nights, I deeply love it. I love the things that have recently been happening. It's a really great story. I feel like it has a little bit of spice to it, but I feel like it's just so well done. Like it's not just spice for the sake of spice, even though some of the decisions that led to the spice, I was like, it's a little bit questionable, but I really feel like everything is just done so incredibly well. And I've just enjoyed every single chapter. It's been so good. And I really feel like the writing is excellent in the sense that like you're in the story and then you'll get like a flashback at just the right time and learn more about characters' motivations. And then you're seeing the dogs and Tequila. She's so cute. She's so cute. I really love that moment actually between Tequila and the female lead. It was so good. I've really, really enjoyed it. So thank you to everybody who recommended this to me. It was good. I did catch up on Morgana and Oz. Apparently, like before I went on hiatus, I didn't read all the chapters and I just didn't realize that. I don't know if past me was like, well, wait, and then we'll just binge read it, but that's what I did. So I read chapters 65 through 71. Things are so intense right now and I'm just like, oh my goodness. Like I read the latest chapter from this week, so I'm trying to think of where I exactly stopped before the new month began, and it's intense though. Like the things that Morgana is finding out, I'm just like, what is going to happen next? And then Oz has definitely found out things, and it has just been a whirlwind of really goodness stuff. Like I've loved it. I said that really weird, of really good stuff, not goodness stuff, but it's really good. I just got my physical volume 1 in the mail. I'm so excited to reread the series starting from the beginning. One of my favorite reads was very unexpected. So 7 Seas did license this manual and it's called What It Means to Be You. I read chapters 1 through 14. This was incredible. I mean, this is one of the best manhwa I've read recently. I don't know, this series surprised me in at least with the chapters I've read, and I just felt so emotional when I was reading it. I honestly, when I got to the end of chapter 14, I was like, I wish I had this physically in my hands already because I would hug this manhwa because I feel like it's just it was so impactful and so deep and so heartbreaking. There's not any humor really in this series. I don't remember really any humor except for like a few moments when they swap bodies, because the premise is the main female lead, she ends up taking her life, and rather than dying, her and her husband's bodies swap, like their souls swap. So she's in the body of her husband physically, and the husband is physically in her body. And so when they're in each other's bodies, they start learning things about their spouse that they did not know, because it was a political marriage of sorts, and well, it was, I guess you would say, and things really fall out. And so both of them have different ideas and perceptions of the other person. And so when they have this body swapping, they really get to see how hard things are for the other person, because neither one of them have good communication when they're actually in each other's presence. So I really liked when they have to deal with, that sounds weird, but when they have to deal with people who are interacting with the spouse's body and how they typically act. And of course, they're not acting like their real selves because the souls have been swapped. And it has just been, because of that, it has been so moving. I have loved it very, very much. This is a strong contender for favorite manhwa of this year. I was very blown away. I did not expect to love it nearly as much as I did. I mean, I liked the first 3 chapters that I read on Tapas, but I kept reading the free chapter every 24 hours and then some, because it was moving. It was a very compelling story. This is one though, I think trigger warnings are a must for the series. I will leave them down below from what I can remember, because it's heartbreaking and there's lots of sad points. And the female lead, I'm blanking on her name right now, she is never really treated in a really respectful way. I wouldn't say that her husband, like, people were calling him toxic, and I don't feel he's toxic at all. Like, he's not hurting her. Yes, he didn't say the most kindest things, but he didn't berate her in a way that I was like, you're a red flag. Like, I never once felt that way. And I really appreciate how we see more into why he acts the way he does. So I definitely didn't feel like anything like that. But it is a very heartbreaking story, but I feel very hopeful that how the leads are acting and how how they're moving forward, that they're going to genuinely grow in a like romantic love for each other, because even though the female lead at the beginning, it was like instant love for her, her husband did not feel the same kind of way. So I would highly recommend it. I am definitely picking up this one, even though I'm thinking of my friend Jellybean from Twitter/X. She mentioned that I said, and I did, she's 100% right, that I said I wasn't going to be getting any more manhwa. Y'all, I was wrong. I'm eating those words. I'm getting this one because it was just so very good. I would highly recommend it, and I cannot wait to read more. I'm stopping where I'm at because I'm to the point where like I'm just going to start using money to buy ink on there and not have to wait for the free chapters every time. So it was so good. Unfortunately, I have another one that I actually forgot that I had. So the Twisted-Wonderland novel. You guys know I love Twisted-Wonderland. It's so amazing. Well, I got the novel and I did not enjoy it. I love the art, but I really struggled. I only read maybe the first 2 or 3 chapters. I struggled with that I was comparing it to the game and to the manga, that I was getting myself confused and I didn't understand why certain things were happening, that I was not able to enjoy or appreciate the story. It is extremely well written, and I definitely know this is a me problem because I was just so caught up in the comparison thing. I don't know anybody else that's actually had a problem with that. And I think I wouldn't have had such an issue if there wasn't this one part that I'm like, where is this even coming from? Because I'm like, I've played through the entire story for this in particular chapter dorm, and I've read all of the manga for this. And I'm like, there's nothing that has this scene. And then when it opens up with the main character coming in to Night Raven College, it was different. It's like, I don't like this. And I don't like that I feel that way because I am such a prickler when it comes to needing to adapt something. And even though like the writing itself was very good, it was very vivid, and I did like how out of all of the content that I guess we would have, this one had the most like fearful elements, and I really like that because I really think it captured the dark part or the darker vibes of Night Raven College. So I liked that, and the writing was good, but I just was like, this isn't for me. I'm gonna stop here. I'm sending it to a friend of mine who actually got me into Twisted-Wonderland, and I'm hoping that she loves it, and I hope that she doesn't have that problem because again, all of the reviews I've seen have been really good, and nobody's mentioned that they're just stuck in this comparison trap that I'm in. Yeah, me problem. I would still definitely recommend it. The art was fantastic. I actually struggled sending it to her because I'm like, I want to collect all of the Twisted-Wonderland stuff, but I'm like, it doesn't make me any less of a fan. That's what I kept telling myself by not having every single Twisted-Wonderland work, but I do have everything else pre-ordered though. That was a bummer that I didn't actually love the novel as much as I did the manga. I'm still going to be hopeful and we'll still keep buying Twisted-Wonderland merch and Twisted-Wonderland manga and such. Going on to the physicals, I am so excited. So unfortunately last month I did not meet my goal of reading a series on my backlog, but I did read the remaining single manga that I had on my original backlog that I made at the beginning of the year. So that was really, really exciting. I'm going to give myself an applause here because I was so excited. I was really bummed at first. I'm like, I didn't read a series, but I'm like, Laura, you read the remaining singles that you had on your original TBR, I think plus like one extra. So all the singles, except for like a few things I've picked up, I think, yeah, I picked up, well, I did a trade with my friend Pippa at Strawberry Shoujo on Instagram of The White Cat's Revenge as plotted from the Dragon King's lap. I'm giving this series a third try because I tried it once, I didn't like it, I didn't even make it through the whole series or volume. I tried it a second time, made it further, and I still didn't like it, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a third shot because it is in the same, or it's in the magazine Flow's comic, and I really love a lot of the works that come out of that magazine. So I'm hoping if I can just make it to the end or just try it again that I will like it. So hopefully third time is the charm. But I have this one, and I think it's Sazin and comic, something like that. I'll leave the cover right here, and I have that one. But those were not on my original list from the beginning of the year. So I do have a few other things I still need to read that are singular volumes, but I'm so excited that I have read the other ones, and one of them that was in the final was Alice in the Country of Clover, March Hare. I paid a little extra for this, I think last year, to get this specific volume in the Alice in the Country of Clover or Country of Hearts series because I love March Hare. He's my favorite guy out of all of them, and I enjoyed this. It's funny, I reread some of it this morning because I couldn't fully remember all that took place, and I didn't love it as much on the second reread, but it was sweet. I would say it's in like the top 2 or 3 of like the best March Hare spin-offs that I've read, and I would definitely reread it again. It was very sweet, and I really enjoyed seeing Alice and March Hare in a relationship because that's what I wanted, but this did lead me to, since I enjoyed this one, it did lead me to rereading the March Hare's Revolution, which I love this manga so much. I reread it again this morning, and I'm like, it is perfect. Again, it's just so amazing. I feel like this is one of the few spinoffs that does really well where it's self-contained and we actually see a building relationship between Alice and March Hare here. So, or Elliot, I should say. I enjoyed seeing that so very much. I mean, we do see like a blooming relationship between Alice and Elliot, but I do feel it's a little bit more sexualized in this one, while in this one, it focuses more on them just entering into a relationship and establishing that relationship. I loved it so much. So this one still very much holds up in my reread of how good it is. Oh, it's so amazing. I wish I could say like you could just read this without needing to read the main series, and I guess you could, but I do feel like it would just be more fulfilling knowing who Elliot is and how he acts, even though it does tell you how he is in the main series. But he is my favorite mobster. I love him so much. It was so very good. I actually had 3 titles that were on my backlog of TBR, and I finally read this one. I did a video, I think it was whenever last year, talking about shoujo manga that I wanted to read that was on the Viz Media app, and this was one that I wanted to try, but I actually ended up buying used. I debated buying a brand new volume because this one is just so yellow, but it is Yume Dream Shop. It is a standalone. It has, I think, about 4 short stories. I loved it so much. The chapters were wonderful. There were some that I enjoyed more than others, obviously. It's true for any person, but I enjoyed every single one. It was amazing. It was an emotional read. I really love this plushie. The story with him broke my heart. I cried. It was so good. I remember really enjoying the last one as well. I think each story had a really good theme or message that was like relevant specifically to that chapter. I will definitely read this again. I was just so touched and very blown away how each chapter really was connected, in the sense like if you have a wish and that wish like travels on the wind and it comes to this girl here to her shop, then she will visit you and help your wish come true, but you have to give up something of value in order for that wish to come true. For example, in the first story, it was about a tree that was in love with a human, like the music that he plays, and so she wanted to be human just for like a few days so she could go tell him how much his music had impacted her. In order for her to become human, she has to sign a contract and give up something of value from herself. That story, the end of it, was really emotional, and I was like, if this ends on a bad note, I'm like, I don't know if I can read the rest of these chapters or these stories, because I was like, this was really heartfelt, and every single story was. I also really liked, there was one chapter about turning back time and her finding out things, and that was super moving as well. So the whole thing was really good. I don't know what else to say about it because I don't want to give spoilers for each chapter or anything, but each one was very solid, was very good. I would definitely recommend this. I don't know if it's still on the Viz Media app, but I'm glad that I finally read it. Even if it was in physical form, like that's super yellow. I thought about buying a new one, but anyway, I'll leave it how it is. But it's so good. I will definitely come back and reread this again. And this was the last one on my list, and I was, or my backlog, and I was so glad that I actually came back to this because I tried it a few months ago and it just was not the right timing. And I was like, no way am I not gonna like this, because I love the previous volumes, and that is Ex-Yakuza and Stray Kitten Volume 4. That is the final volume. I'm gonna miss Jen. I'm gonna miss Jen. I mean, Sabu is cute. Don't get me wrong. I was here for Jen. I was here for Jen because he is amazing. I loved his smiles and how he acted. Would he be looking like this? He was just so great. He's just so great. But it was a very strong conclusion to the series. Honestly, I'm gonna miss seeing Jen and Sabu and like getting new volumes. I mean, I'm glad it was a short series because I feel like it was the perfect stopping point. And I really loved how Sabu had his own struggle or like problem in this volume, which is not what I was expecting. But I really loved the conclusion and how it really just brought everything back to Jen and Sabu's relationship from the very start and how it is now. It was beautiful. It was a lot of fun as well. Very heartfelt. I had a great time. And again, I'm just glad that I came back to this because I would have been so crestfallen if I didn't love it. that I reread a little bit of it this morning and I still really enjoyed it. So it's definitely staying in my collection. I don't know if I'll come back to reread it anytime soon, but I know when I do, I will have a great time, especially if I'm going to miss Jen, because I need his smiles and seeing the misunderstandings that Sabu has from them. Like, Jen's such a great guy. This was so good. I was pretty shocked that this month, I read 2 light novels, which was really, really exciting. I read volumes 2 and 3 of The Villainess is the Heroine's Biggest Fan. This was so very good. I loved it so much. I did a video review, so if you're curious about my thoughts on this series, definitely check it out. Just know that I loved it. It was great. I had such a fun time, and I definitely need volume 4 because of how things unfolded in this one. I'm like, I need to see answers of just everything that's happening and how our girl here, how our heroine is going to be center stage as the next prima donna, because she's so beautiful. She's so wonderful. So this was a great series. Volume 4, it's already out digitally, but I don't have a digital e-reader, so I'm not sure though when the physical volume comes out, but I will definitely be getting it to see how this series ends. I have missed these characters already, and I need to like flip through it and just reread some of my favorite parts. It is very good. I would definitely recommend. Now begins the moments of where I'm like, this was my favorite read of this month when it comes to manga. So I read volume 3 of In the Name of the Mermaid Princess. Me and my friend Holly, we buddy read these volumes, and this was so good. This series continues to get better and better, though there was a lot of heartbreak with our character July, getting flashbacks, finding out that one human is just trash. Oh, it was bad. That one human, like, he was horrible. But the way Mio interacts with July, the things she says, how she comes to his defense was so heartfelt and so moving and so beautiful, and it definitely made me get really emotional. I feel like Mio is at a crossroads right now of what she's going to do. We do see a little bit of that dilemma explored later in the volume, though we're in a new land, a new place, and Mio is in quite the tight spot that she's in. I don't know what's going to happen next, but based off of the next volume cover, we're finally going to be meeting this one character, and me and my friend are very excited because just of spoilery things that I can't mention. But I'm very, very excited. This series has been phenomenal, and I would highly recommend it whether you like mermaids or not. It is a beautiful story. Like, when it comes to the art itself, it is so beautiful and so touching, and the story, this is pretty good one. Doesn't really, I can't show too much because it'd be spoilery, but I love the character development that Mio is consistently having every single volume, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. It's so very good. This one was really good. It's a manhwa, and that is volume 5 of What's Wrong with Secretary Kim. The squealing that took place, granted, there was some spice this volume, but the squealing, it was so good. A lot of the secrets have come out from the previous volume. Now they're being addressed in this volume, and I really feel like this is one of the best volumes yet because the issues I had with our guys' parents are addressed, and Miss Kim here, she is remembering everything from the past. So I feel like a lot of things that have been very like uncertain or questionable, or me hating the parents and the decisions that they have made up to this point, it all came being addressed, and I just felt so happy as a reader, especially when it came to the romance. It was so good. It was so good. I was like, yes, I knew this part was coming because I have read the series, most of it digitally, and I think I have read up to this part. So whatever's after this, I actually have not read, and I think this is volume 5. So I think volume 6 is the final volume. I am excited to see what happens. How it ended was very beautiful, and I'm very appreciative of all the communication that happened among multiple characters. It was so satisfying, and seeing Miss Kim's dad was hilarious. It was hilarious. I'm pretty sure he was in the preview for the next volume. Yes, he is, and I am excited to see him again because, oh my gosh, when he gets together with the male lead, it is so funny, and I'm ready, y'all. I'm ready to see how the series ends. I will miss it though. It has been a joy to read this series. I've really, really enjoyed it so much, and this volume especially was very, very good. After I read this volume, I was like, this is my favorite read of this month, and I'm just gonna say the second part of the title, and that is Tengu's Love. Now I want to say, our guy here, he ain't a delinquent. I was bummed. Like, look at this jacket. Look at this jacket. When he got this kind of jacket on right here, you got the tiger you see right there. I'm thinking delinquent vibes, you know? I am thinking delinquent vibes. Like, look at the back. That screams delinquent jacket. But no, that's just his style. So I was a little bit disappointed in that, but it did not affect my enjoyment of the story. I had so much fun reading this. When yokai are involved, you know things are going to be going down. It's going to be a hot mess, and it is a hot mess for sure. But our main girl here, what is her name? Yume, is so funny. I loved all the moments with her. I mean, there were some things she should have taken a little bit more seriously when it came, when our male leads warning her and whatnot, but she was great. She was so great, and this story was just seeing the shenanigans, and really, honestly, I feel like there is some heart to this story that I wasn't expecting, and I love seeing a man in fiction when he is not afraid to apologize and say, hey, I was wrong, I shouldn't have said this. We love to see it, and we definitely saw it in this one, and so I really feel like there's just this unexpected heart, though, of recognizing or seeing like, hey, you really are lonely, but there are people around you who deeply love and care for you and want to be in your life and want you in theirs. That was a very, I feel like, a subtle theme that I feel like as the volume went on, it became larger and just so much more fulfilling outside of just this very humorous story of Hime coming to live with him and them being like a wedding couple even though they're not married. I hope that he remembers things though. I really hope he remembers because I definitely shipped them. It was a very fun first volume. I would definitely highly recommend it, especially if you like yokai shenanigans and you like seeing or you like knowing that the main female lead loves to eat. Yume loves to eat. She could take down some food, and I thought that was really fun about her character. And just seeing a male lead beginning to recognize like, hey, that he felt lonely, but now he has Hime in his life, and seeing other people who were part of his life as a child now wanting to be in his life as an adult have been very fulfilling. It was very wonderful and just a great time. I would definitely recommend it. I am very much ready for volume 2. I'm hoping it works out that later this year I can do a review or like a first impression of the first 2 volumes because I had a blast. I reread this volume 2 or 3 times, so not from start to finish, but just flipping through it. If I knew I needed to laugh in that moment, I would honestly just come back to this volume and just read a few spots because I just had such a great time. I mean, let me try and find one of the chapter headings. Like, this is a great one. Like, look at them and his expression. And the chapter headings were so cute. Like, this is a fun one, and how she had these dreams of being like a maid, and that was the thing, is Hime wanted to explore the world, but due to, oh, I like this one too, but due to things in her community that was something she felt she could not do, and then our male lead enters her life again and really shows and tells her like, yes, you can experience the outside world and have a really wonderful time. There was one other chapter illustration, but I missed it. That's okay. That one was my favorite, but look how cute she looks. So it was fun. I would highly recommend it. I cannot wait for volume 2. This volume was so good, and that is volume 9 of A Condition Called Love. I was blown away by this volume. I mean, every volume has been very good, but what I really loved about this one is it really focuses on the friendship, and I feel like the romance puts more like a back seat, not in a bad way, but we really see, I mean, Hotaru, we know she loves her friends, and she will put them first. I mean, she loves Hanoni, and I love that Hanoni loves that about Hotaru. I really enjoyed that and appreciate seeing that because it really speaks so much of his character. I love though how this volume, when Hanoni's seeing, okay, Hotaru, she's putting her friends first and everything, and he's feeling a little bit glummy, you know, that Hotaru sees that and she does something about it, and there's a really great moment. In fact, this moment right here was really, really good. It was really great, and I just felt it was so satisfying, and I loved it all. I was very, very touched by this volume, and it was again a really good one, and I mean, it just keeps getting better and better, and I was thankful that things worked out with Hotaru and her friends because I would have cried otherwise, because I'm like, oh my goodness, this is not the kind of dilemma that I was expecting, but it worked out, everything was okay, and we had this really beautiful ending. Cannot wait for the next volume. This was so cute as well, and after I read this, like, this is my favorite read of this month because it was so heartwarming, and my friend was trying to help me say it. I think it's Pupposites, I think, Attract. It's this one here. It's a Josei manga. Oh, this is the dog manga that every person needs in their life. Even if you're not a fan of dogs, you need this manga in your life. It is so comforting, heartwarming, very cute, very slice of life, but it was so adorable with these dogs. Oh my goodness. And their owners being opposites. Oh, I went the wrong way. And their owners being opposites. Oh, I loved it. I loved it. I ate it up. It was so beautiful. I just pre-ordered volume 2 yesterday. I cannot wait for this to come in the mail. It is just one of those feel-good comfort stories that just makes your day better. Doesn't have any plot really. I think it's getting to that point though. But yeah, if you need a feel-good story, this is your manga. I really feel like this manga shows you don't just need cat manga to feel good, but you can get some dog manga and feel just as good. Maybe even better. There were no cats though, but I was okay with that. But the dogs were so much fun, and I had a great time reading this, and honestly felt my mood just perk up significantly. So good. Also would highly recommend this one, plus dog manga. We need more dog manga, and this delivered. Not to be outdone, I found another josei. It was really good as well, and I almost said this was my favorite read of this month, though I do feel like this is my favorite josei of the month, and that is Secrets of the Silent Witch. I read volume 1 and volume 2 of the manga. I do have a video review. Do not sleep on this series. Do not sleep on it. I think that's how I even named my video review, was do not sleep on this series, because the anime, the news about the anime came out, there was a lot of controversy, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go try it out and make my own opinion. I was blown away by this fantasy story. Monica, our girl Monica, is amazing. Please check out that review. I would highly recommend this. I did read volume 3 as of this month. Absolutely amazing. Like as of this month, like September, and it is so good. Continues to be spectacular, and I am very excited for the anime. Very excited for more volumes of this. I loved every moment. And again, if you need more thoughts on it, definitely check out my review. Ultimately though, when it came to my favorite read of this month, I decided to go with this one, and that is In Another World, My Sister Stole My Name, volume 1. I was blown away. I didn't think anything else could blow me away as much as Secrets of the Silent Witch, but this might have, and that's why I'm choosing it for the favorite read of August, because I love isekai. Okay, that's no surprise there. I think I was so shocked that he's on here. I'm stuck in a love triangle, y'all. I'm stuck in a love triangle. I don't love love triangles, but I'm here for it in this series. It is so compelling and so good. I love both this broody guy here, and then I know there's a picture of him right here. I think you can see him. And this guy here who is like sunshine. Well, that might be a little bit of a stretch, but he is the sunshine to the other guy's grump. That is for sure. There is a picture of them where they are side by side. Here we go. Them. I love them both. And I was like, this love triangle needs to be extended, because I don't want either of these guys' hearts to be broken. And for me to say that spoke a lot, because I'm like, no, I go for one dude, I ship them the whole way. I may change, but that's really rare if I switch ships. But with this series, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm shipping him the most, but I really love when there's moments with him, and it was such a compelling story, and I was just so shocked that I'm like, I love this. And I mean, I expected I would like it because I got it, obviously, but to be head over heels for it and read it once and then reread it again because I just couldn't get enough of it, and love our heroine, and the sister in this is so dirty, and I'm just like, there's a lot of thoughts I have there, but they would be spoilers. But everything was so well done, so compelling. The art was fantastic. The ending left on a cliffhanger that was perfection, because you know drama's about to go down. I'm like, I'm seated. I am seated here for the drama. Tell me what happens next. Very excited for the next volume. I would highly recommend this. It was just so unexpectedly good. I mean, I thought it would be like, got another isekai, story. Okay, that's fine. But there's so much heart, and there's like a lot of politics that are playing a role, and the sister's having her dirty stuff that's involved, and our main girl is just trying to do her best, and then she's got the world basically after her, well, I wouldn't say after, but this dude here, I mean, I wouldn't say he's an enemy, but he's sort of acting like one. I think it's gonna be like an enemies to lovers, but man, the other dude is just so great too, and I really love the qualities of him. I mean, I feel conflicted about how I love both of these guys in this manga, and one guy's gonna lose. But I feel like I'll be okay with whoever wins, though. I could definitely say that. But this was phenomenal, and I think if you need a story that, yes, is an isekai, but it's not the focus in the sense of like she is teleported, I guess you would say, to this other world, and it's more of her finding out like what is she gonna do, because as it says, her sister stole her name. I will just say I would highly recommend it. Like, if you were to check out anything I've recommended so far, check out this, because I really feel like this has been a huge surprise to many people, and just how compelling the story is, how it's like everything is gonna be messy, and I am 100% here for it. It was phenomenal. I was so excited to try this, and that's Father, I Don't Want This Marriage, Volume 1. This is a manhwa that came out from Inklore, and it's so funny. So the day I read it, I liked it and I thought it was funny, but I was like, I don't know if I want to get the second volume. So I was flipping through it before this video, so everything was like fresh in my mind, and I really liked it when I came back to it. It was refreshing. I was like, why didn't I super enjoy it the first time? And I wasn't actually even gonna get the next volume, but I saw reviews and I sort of felt like maybe I just didn't read far enough. And usually I'm pretty strict, especially when it comes to manual. You have to be with that price tag, you know what I'm saying? But I did really enjoy it. I had a fun time the first time I read it. I liked the characters. I love the father and her relationship. How it's different now compared to the first time is so compelling, and I'm very curious. But I laughed a lot just when I was flipping through it again. So I think I'm gonna give it a second shot because I don't know what trophy is, but the guy here, the hero, he is funny. He doesn't mean to be funny though. He's pretty grumpy, honestly. He acts like a jerk when you first meet her, but she, our female lead, she is wonderful, and I have just admired her, and there's a lot of humor with her. So I actually would be very interested in trying out the second volume and seeing where the series goes, because I said I enjoyed it a lot more the second time that I tried it, and the quality is so nice. I didn't like how they necessarily did the translations of this, and that they sort of left more of just the Korean translation, which looks good, like the Korean text, and then they just put the English one right here. I wasn't a fan of that per se, but the quality is so very good, and just the story was a lot of fun. I could see why there is so much love for this series now, and I'm especially glad that I came back and gave it a second chance, because hopefully everything goes well, and I'm excited to see these two, how things will go forward with them, and especially our main girl and her relationship with her dad. I hope it only improves and gets better. So I'm gonna give volume 2 a shot, and again, I'm just glad I came back to it this morning because I enjoyed it a lot more than I did the first time, even though I enjoyed it the first time, but it was like, now I definitely want to get volume 2. I was second guessing myself if the Sister Stole My Name, if that really was my favorite read, because then I read volume 3 of Gazing at the Star Next Door, and oh my goodness, the amount of times I said Chi's name in my car waiting for my kids to get out of school was something else, because I was like, Chi, like Chi, because I just felt so many emotions that were happening and taking place in this volume specifically. Like, oh my gosh, like it is up and down, and I'm just like, Chi, I'm here for you, girl. I love you so much, and just, you need a bear hug like times 10. And just then the ending though, I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't expect this to happen. I mean, since I have read some of the magazines, have seen some of the magazines with individual chapters, I know what's coming, but like right now, it is a lot. It is a lot, but it's so good. And I was like, the emotions, the emotional roller coaster. This is the volume that made me realize that childhood friends to lovers can be just as angsty as a love triangle, because there's some angst right now. I'm here for the angst. I'm here for it. I loved all the moments. Whew. But the roller coaster is pretty extreme. You got some big, heavy drops. So just prepare your heart. Prepare your heart when you read this. But man, I need volume 4. I can't believe it comes out next year. Like, come on, I need it now, especially with that ending. It was so good. Very, very good. And because my heart just wants some pain for my last read of this month, I read volume 5 of My Girlfriend's Child, and this was really angsty as well, and my heart was struggling. It was struggling, and I wanted to cry, and I told my husband, I said, you shouldn't beat people up, but I can honestly say that this is the first time I felt extreme rage towards some high schoolers, and I was like, I want to go in this manga and beat this kid up, because I'm like, how dare you say that to our girl here. The first part of this volume was really hard, because her and Tanaka are in an argument. I loved how things that came out of that, though. That was very beautiful. I cried after that, and seeing their smiles was everything. I mean, it was beautiful. And then the second half was just like anger, extreme rage towards some of her classmates and the things they're saying and the things they're doing. It was very, very upsetting, and I felt a little bit devastating on the final page, or at the end of this volume, because our girl is just having to make such tough decisions, and she's being so brave, and I really admired her character development this volume, and seeing that, she's not alone, that people are there for her, and she doesn't have to do everything alone. And so I'm hopeful, but man, this volume tore at my heart so strongly, but it was so good. It was so good. Easily a 5-star read, but I was just like, I got she and her emotional journey, and I'm coming over to My Girlfriend's Child, and I got a more emotional journey. I was like, my heart was not ready. It was not prepared, but it was very good. Continue to deeply love this series, even if my heart's being ripped out my chest every single time I read a new volume. And that, my friends, wraps up everything I've read in the month of August. I feel like I did a lot of rambling, but I was just so excited to talk about these. As you can see, I had read lots of good things. Some things I wasn't a huge fan of, but I'm glad that I gave manga second chances and just came back to older series that I meant to read but never did. It was a great month of reading, and I would love to hear from you, friends. What are some manga that you read? Hopefully it was a good month of reading for you, and then hopefully September has been a good month of reading. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!